we have one division to look at, but I don't think there will be anyone anywhere near that. And that will be Division 1. So this is a big league. We have the defending champions looking to defend their title once more. The Darlow Destroyers as the defending champions. They got off to a winning start, but we'll start off at the top, Johnny, with the Melbourne Supremacy kicking off with a 201 points, very tight. Dickinson Heath Demons, that was a tight one, 196. Then the Belfast Benchwarmers beating Bognor Regis Falcons, 190 to 178. The Gothenburg Angels, who've always been up there, 209, another good start for Gatch. Against the South London Rebels, Tony Harrison, 157. That's unlucky. They're normally very, very strong as well. So that's a surprisingly low score. The defending champion now, the Darlow Destroyers, 182 points to kick off the defence of their title. Not great, but enough for the win against the Kirkwall Raiders, 174. Then we have the Kirkwall Cowboys on 208, beating the Crewe Juggernauts, 192. And finally, the Portland Lumberjacks, very popular trading team there. Portland Lumberjacks, 192 against the Yeovil Villains. I'm assuming that will be 169 points. So yeah, I mean, this is the 12 teams that can be the OrkneyBowl champions this year. I'm sure all heading out for it. I'll be very keen not to go down as well. You know, that's a big thing. So let's see how the defending champions kicked off their season against our very own Allens and the East Kirkwall Raiders. Drake May, you have to worry. I mean, I'm a Drake May owner, and I am quite worried about his week 1 performance in the sense that, you know, the Raiders are the Raiders. They've got Crosby and that, but they're not a top kind of 10 defence.
No.
And he didn't come out light of it, you know, it does worry me.
I think the thing with May, though, he gets to play the Dolphins twice. You know, he gets to put, like, you know what I mean? These divisions, like even the Bills' defense. I don't see up into the Bills. This is why I'm really disappointed with the Ravens losing that game against the Bills, because the Bills' defense are missing a couple of key places of how they want to play defense. They can't play defense right now the way they want to play it. So see until the second half of the season, the Bills' defense, I think they're going to let a lot of points be scored against them. So, like, obviously, Drake May will get to play that Bills' defense at least once before it gets to where it needs to be. The Jets' defense, as much as on paper it looks like a good defense, they were shocking against the Steelers. That Jets' defense was horrific. So Drake May will have good weeks because of his division, the teams he gets to play.
You have to think so, and I am a little bit worried about the performance, I've got to say, because I was really big on him this year. But you got, you know, Achan should do fine. I mean, for all that the Dolphins look absolutely shocking, and they do, you have to think that he is the one kind of shining light that's coming through that offense. You know, and regardless of who's playing quarterback, I do think that he should still have a good season, provided he stays on the field. Dobbins is he's going to tail off as the season goes on. So you got to hope if you've drafted Dobbins, you have to have someone on the bench for the second half. I would say, you know, I mean, I think he'll be fine to begin with, but he's going to run out of steam. You've got Ibuka and Ted McMillan there, so 2 rookies leading the wide receivers, but 2 very good rookies, you know.
The thing is, we'll see if Dobbins helps you get 7 wins at the start. You're happy with that? Because, you mean, that's you so close to the playoffs already.
But you were drafting Dobbins on your bet, you know, you were drafting him after your starting lineup. So it was a very good ad for me in the sense that you're adding him after you've got all your starting lineup there. But he's someone that you can plug in straight away. So if you are taking a Henderson or you're taking a swing on Hampton, you need that Dobbins later on to be able to plug in until they get going and they really show themselves as true, you know, their draft capital allows, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid enough team that he's got there for the defence of the title. You know, Mason there should do pretty well. The defence hasn't done great this week. Obviously, that needs to be scoring better than that if you're going to go on and have a good season. But I'm sure they will as well. I mean, Bernard's decent enough, and so is Cashman if he's not hot.
Well, Cashman got injured, so I actually had him in the Dynasty Orkney. So I'm pretty sure I dropped him and I've replaced him now. But yeah, he did. He got injured. But about Achan, I was watching him. I've got him in to show me the keeper, so I was watching his score. Achan had like 0 points at the end of the first quarter or something. I was getting really worried about Achan. He did nothing until the second half, pretty much. But then the second half happened, and he got so much touches.
He's one of my keepers in the home league. So Show Me the Money League, which is played exactly the same as Show Me the Keeper League. That was it's exactly the same format with the two keepers and such. So yeah, he was one of my keepers this year. Him and JT were my two keepers from my title defence last year. So I'm really hoping that he kicks on and that he stays up. My worry for Achan is that if he sees it going very, very belly up very, very quickly, and McDaniels is about to lose his job and Tua is about to lose his job, and they're going to move on from Tyreek Hill, I think he might be looking at it going, do you know what? I think I'll just wait to 2026 and I've got an ouchie, I'm out. I can see that being the case if it was to go belly up, totally belly up Miami. So I think they have a very big week this week against the Patriots, because I think it's a huge week for Drake May. I also think it's a huge week for Devin Achan and specifically Tua, to show that they can still do it.
Definitely. And that was Danny saying in the chat that Cashman could be out till week 6. So yeah, you'll need to find a new IDP. Sounds of things.
Yeah,
let's see. There was another close one there though. The OrkneyBowl Cowboys and the Crew Duggernauts. Both those scores most weeks, you would think 192 points will get you a lot of wins. So that's another unlucky one. So that's what Hearts against. It's all quite even so far. Let's keep going down. It's pretty even. There's just McCaffrey against Kamara. There's a few points, and then AJ Brown. There it is. AJ Brown's a killer. Yeah. I would say that Mims though, really but then Javonte.
But you've taken AJ Brown in the second round at the latest, Martin. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. You've taken Mims in maybe the 8th or 9th round, so you're not that so bothered. But there, Jaden Blue, that's an outtake because he was declared out before the game started. I guess Thursday night, missed it. But yeah, I mean, AJ Brown's cost you games this week. He'll have cost a lot of managers games, not just because of the bad game that he had, but because of where he's drafted. He's getting drafted before your Wilsons who are scoring 20, 30 points, so it makes a big difference in where they're drafted as well, But
definitely.
Played out. I mean, when you're only getting 6 points out your two flex spots, 6.9 points, that you're never going to win game scoring that, But he has won this week, hasn't he? That's the winning team as well.
Yeah, it was. He got big scores for Henry
that's
McCaffrey.
A huge score. Yeah, there you go. There's over 100 points with 3 players with Hurts, Henry, and McCaffrey, and they'll continue to do that all season long, provided they're fit. So that's where the winning's happening here.
The problem with Jaden Blue as well is that the Cowboys head coach, he's turned around and said that Jaden Blue needs to be more consistent before he sees the field. So right now, Jaden Blue's healthy and he's not going to be seeing the field. So he's just not happy with him. So Jaden Blue managers, it's going to be a long road this season, it sounds like.
It's back half of the season at best for those guys, for sure. Yeah, it's they're waiting to the back end of the season. Here's a real close one as well. Just 5 points in it, 196 points and losing. So where's the difference here? Well, there it is, right at quarterback. I mean, when you've had Baker Mayfield out there scoring 31 points, you're feeling quite happy with your quarterback performance, aren't you? And then the other guys going and gets 50. That's crushing.
Let's just keep going down. Because even look, he had Chase, but he had Josh Allen's fourth quarter is won this by the looks of things, unless there's some
50 points from one player heals a lot of Ills, because there's a lot of Ills there on that team. There's a lot of Ills on that team. I like the fact that he had the balls to punch in Hollywood Brown week 1. That's very much worked out in his favour, and I think going forward with Worthy being hurt, Brown's just if you've got Hollywood Brown in your bench, put him in this week. He's going to be the man. Even if Worthy's out there, they're not going to. He's injured. He's hurt. They're not going to throw. He's going to be there more as a distraction, more as a decoy than anything else, I think. And I think Hollywood's going to get a lot of touches this week.
Who are the Chiefs playing though? I don't even know who they've got.
They're playing. They're playing a big. Oh, they're playing the Eagles. They're playing the Eagles at Arrowhead. But it's a repeat. It's a Super Bowl repeat this week.
Oh, imagine
So
if the
yeah,
Chiefs went 0-2 to start the season. What a travesty that would be. Saying that, I didn't particularly
no
want the
fact.
Eagles to go 2-0 either. I didn't want the Eagles to go 2-0 either, to be honest. So.
My my out there call this year was the Chiefs won't win their division. They'll still make a playoff, but they won't win the division. That was my big call this year, and I stand by it. Talk to me. It's your team, Martin. So talk to me about Mark Andrews. Is he finished? Is he done? I mean, 2.1 catch for 5 yards with no Likely on the field. What's going to happen when Likely comes back? Are you finally done with Mark Andrews?
Uh, Personally, I think so. I think this is the changing of the guard. I think this first week you put up all those points against the Bills. It's a big game. Like seeing big games, Mark Andrews is really usually he's called upon a lot in the big games, especially. So this wasn't some donkey team that were playing. This was like a big game, and he wasn't in the game script. Like he wasn't in the game script at all. So I do think, see if you've got Likely, hold on to him because I actually think you're going to end up with like he could be like I know like Kittle's out now. Like there's a path where Likely enters that top 4 tight end room. You know what I mean? Because I think Likely will be involved, but Mark Andrews, I mean, see the only league I would play Mark Andrews in, and it would be as like an upside punt, would be a standard scoring league because you're after touchdowns. He might get the odd touchdown just because of the red zone. But seeing half PPR, full PPR leagues, I would not be playing Mark Andrews. And if you've got Likely on your bench, I'd be holding on to him because you might be sat on a bag of gold.
Yeah, I mean, I gave up on Andrews last year when he went, but he said double goose eggs, the double goose egg
Oh, yeah.
weeks. That just I gave, but he came back after that. He did. He finished the season really well last year, and he didn't. You could plug him in again at the back end of last season, and he was doing you okay. But I agree. I think he's done now. I think Baltimore. I'm surprised he's still there. To be honest with you, I think you will lean more and more and more on Likely. But even more so than that, I don't even think it's that as much as Zay Flowers is the #1 target for Lamar, and he loves him and he goes to him all the time. And then and then there's the running game, and it's all about the running game. And when you get down in that red zone, you're right. Mark Andrews is a huge target, but then you've brought in Nick Hopkins, and he's a big end zone target as well.
Oh, did you
He's
see his
one of those
catch?
touchdown
Oh,
hogs.
well, he had that big one-handed catch. It was unbelievable. Honestly, like, see, the Ravens, because the Ravens lost that game, honestly, the Ravens were great for the
Yeah,
whole, apart from the last 4 minutes of that game, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I was going to say for 55 minutes.
1 second, Asher. Yeah, I want to see just one team quickly because I picked it to win this division, and I think they've got a good chance to win the whole of Orkney, and it's that Gatch 1, the Gothenburg Angels, and they put up 209 points. So I picked them to win the division, and I think they've got a good chance to win the whole of Orkney. So it's like Daniels, Williams, Connor, Lamb, St. Brown. St. Brown does worry me now, actually. I'm worried about this. I was worried before. I'm more worried now. By the way, see, that was the
Hold
pick
on.
I didn't like. And Debo Samuel was so. By the way, I watched a bit of that Washington game. Debo Samuel was. I think, don't get me wrong, Terry's not trained all summer. So I think Debo won't keep this up. I don't think he will because I
He
think
will.
Terry is getting up to speed, I think. But I think he'll still. But even if Debo scores 18 points, you're happy. I'm just saying he might not score 25 every week, you know?
It's a funky place for Debo. It's a funky place, He's brilliant at them, and Washington like to pull him down. I mean, his touchdown at the weekend was a end around. It wasn't. It wasn't a catch. It was an end around. He's going to be involved so much. I've actually went with Debo in quite a few leagues, and I'm very happy with it. But sitting with Debo, sitting with Zay Flowers, again, I can't. I couldn't understand how Flowers was going so late to the tune that I couldn't understand it so much that I didn't pick him up. Because I thought there's got to be a reason. So I've got him some play, but not as many places as I feel like I should have him because I think he's going to be huge this year. But the defence here as well, Spillane and Buda Baker. I mean, they're going to be they're going to be great. That's not a worry. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. Gothenburg Angels has always put up a good team in the OrkneyBowl. This is the third year in a row that they've put up a really good team. It could be their year this year. I think you're right.
Well, I was looking. He played Orton, who got 0 points, and he had Loveland on the bench. He only scored 5. If I was him, I would have spent Fab to go and get John Johnson. One of these. There was a couple of tight ends you could maybe have got. So I wonder
Harold
if
Fannin was kicking about Harold Fannin was kicking about in a lot of leagues, and it's.
yeah. So I wonder if
I
he
think
picked it
Theo
out
Johnson
any of
as
them.
well in New York. He's going to have better weeks. Noah Fant seems to, he got the touchdown in week 1 from Burrow. I guess the problem with him is Gesicki being there as well. But I think Fant's going to get more of the ball than Gesicki is. I mean, I would be totally out on Gesicki now. But yeah, the tight ends are kind of. It's difficult, isn't it? Every tight end that's sitting there is going to score some points some weeks, but they're also going to have bad weeks most weeks, more often than not. And therein lies
Which
the
is
issue. It's
always what
getting the
they
right
got.
one at the right time. And
Yeah,
it's if
definitely.
you've got the likes of Loveland, you're sticking with Loveland. You're not keeping him, but it doesn't mean you have to start him. Orton, I would be putting Orton into agency right now, and I'd be taking a swing with one of those other ones for sure, and waiting for Loveland to come good. That would be my plan.
Oh look, he did. He
There you
tried.
go.
Look, Gatch. He did. He tried to get him. He just didn't realise how popular he was going
Yeah,
to be. So he did try to get. But
absolutely.
to be fair, he tried. He just
And
missed
then
bid. But see, that's the thing. See, in his situation, if I was Gatch, I would have just paid big for him because it was the only position that let him down. Even if he spent 100 fab, you know what I mean? He can.
yeah,
I always say spend your fab early. That's what I always say.
I'm a proponent for that. I'm the same. Get your fab out nice and early when the players that are there are going to make a difference season long. The later the season goes, the less you're going to get out of them. Get your fab out early. That's very much my proponent as well. But given the lack of injury in week 1, I think I would have held off more this week, not went nuts, because there's going to be, there's going to be injuries that get picked up, and it's going to make some of these guys in agency way more relevant, It's and that's when you go and you spend your fab at that point. But with the lack of injury, I can see the reasons why the tight ends are kind of going there, and there was the same in most leagues. Johnson got to, Johnson is now, I would say, in a roster in 90 odd percent of leagues, whereas before week 1 it was probably 40.
Yep,
Fannon's the same.
definitely.
He wasn't, in redrafts he wasn't, but he is now. So yeah, so that's week 1 in the bag then, Mark.